Hello, and thanks for joining us today. I'm really glad you could be here. So, today we are talking about turning chaos into clarity. And a lot of it has to do with mindset, amongst so many other things. We're going to decode the whole thing today. And with us today is Sheevaun Moran. Now, Sheevaun is a spiritual warrior for business success and growth, while others call her their mentor, coach, the secret ingredient of their success. She delved to help folks in the path of becoming entrepreneurs and CEOs. She has used her unique formula to help over 25,000 entrepreneurs, CEOs, and leaders achieve freedom, flow in their business and life, bringing them clarity, simplicity, and profits. Sheevaun, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
I talked a little bit about mindset, and let's start there. I mean, why is having a good mindset or having the right mindset so important to success in business?
Because we drift off. Let's just say you're driving down the freeway and you see 10 different signs that say 10 different things. Some are negative, some are fear-based, some are positive, etc. So you're bombarded visually with this information, and it kind of whirls around in your brain. And at some point in time, it's going to stick and it's going to hold on somewhere, and then you'll drift, right? You'll be on a train, you'll be on an idea, you'll be on a thought, and then it will drift because all those little, I call them niggling ideas, they come in and they hijack it. And so if we're not dealing on a consistent basis, meaning daily, sometimes many times a day, with how our mind is intaking information and then feeding back information in our thoughts, right? We're going to drift so far away from our goal that we're going to be over here or 5 miles down the exit or the wrong exit. And one time when I first lived in California, I ended up in Watts, and I was like, I don't understand what happened here. I didn't have a good map. I was lost. But that kind of metaphor, you're so far away from where you want. And you thought, how did I get here? And you didn't catch all of those little niggling problems along the way. So if we don't deal with our mind consistently, and we don't deal with the thoughts that we're thinking and the thoughts that are being injected into us, we're going to go into big drifts.
So what are some of the most successful methods and tactics that you found to deal with that?
Well, I don't know how much your audience thinks about meditation, but I've been teaching meditation to my CEO clients for over 20 years, and it is kind of one of their secret sauces. And why is that? Because I remember when I taught Intel a bunch of years ago, and they wanted me to come up with something that was a pattern interrupter. And a pattern interrupter for everybody who is just so focused, and intensely going for the hard, harsh, drive. And so we created some sort of stop, stand, breathe, raise your hands. Okay, great, go ahead and sit. And so what it does is it actually gets your mind back on track. So that little pattern interrupter takes away the opportunity for those drift opportunities that happen way too frequently, particularly with social media and stuff, right? And it brings us back and gets us back into our bodies and grounded. And okay, great. Now, there is a psychology around it that says, with pattern interrupts, it's going to take you a long time to reset. But if you do it right, and you don't try to go off and read the Wall Street Journal or try to go off and read some sort of Cosmo article or whatever, go off on social media, doom scrolling, then you're in pretty good stead. But if you're in doom scroll, you're in doom trouble. And so you got to reset and bring that back. So mind is our map to success. I always say it's a map, because if I think about the brain, it really does map crap, or it maps good crap. So we want it to map good crap and to avoid all of those little potholes or drifts that are on the side of the road and get spun out.
What about goals? You mentioned goals. Well, what are some strategies you found to keep aligned to your goal and not drift?
So here, there are two sides to that. One is holding on too tight. And I have a lot of CEOs that hold on so tight to their goal that they can't allow a lot of cool stuff in, right? And so you have to be, you cannot be exacting. You can't be so exacting that, let's just say you want $100,000 more for the next deal, whatever that is. But you haven't allowed that it could be more than $100,000. It's like, I know 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, 100,000. And so when we get too exacting, we're in trouble. So you want to allow nature to do its work, because listen, if you're doing your mental work and you're doing the consistent action yields consistent results, meaning that's going to get you a goal. So if you're consistently in action with right mind, right thinking, right idea, and the goal is out here, you're going to achieve it that much more fluidly and with less friction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So what are some other ways that you can kind of reduce the friction?
Oh, so here's a really cool one that I love to, that I created for one of my ADD clients a lot of years ago. And he was building a tech company that has become like, all of those throwaway phones, those pay-as-you-go phones. And he built tech for that. And it was just kind of a startup idea. And he was like, I need your help, I need your help. And he was like 14 trillion ideas all at once. Sales and this and that. And it was wild. And so what I did is I had him take his one left finger and tap the tip of his nose 3 times anytime he lost focus. And so what we did is we had him put it on his calendar, 4 or 5 times a day at random times. I talked to his assistant. I was like, here, let's do these rando times. And so it popped up. And so what he would do is he would tap his nose and it would bring him back to the focus of what he was at hand. And it would give him the opportunity to drift to some and, to whatever, but also to be back and to get to be able to achieve the mission that he was looking to achieve. Interesting?
Yeah, it is. And what else is interesting is a lot of people with ADD or ADHD seem to really excel in business. I mean, I don't know what that at a disproportional rate of normal industries or business types. Like, why is that? Why do you think that is?
I think it's because they have capacity to think with a lot of threads and eventually get to one of those threads really, really doing well. And like, if they can really harness one of those threads, like that guy, right? We needed to harness the one thread that he needed to succeed on to get this technology off the ground that is really huge today. And harness that one idea. And, it's good to have lots of ideas, but there's always one idea that's going to be like the money maker. That's going to be the pot of gold. I've got a guy right now who's building a whole bunch of dental practices, and he's got a lot of threads: yoga and marketing and real estate and Bitcoin and land. And I was like, dude, we need to really focus on the one thread where the money maker is. And he said, oh, I never thought of it like this. And so I've been teaching him how to meld his mind so he can do those other things, but really allow the money maker to go up and up and up.
Do you give him any insight on how to find which one of those the moneymaker is?
Well, we do a long intake. We do about a 10-page intake form when I start working with folks to find out what everybody is involved in. And I have this weird, in my bio, it says spiritual warrior. I have this weird little ninja skill that I can see into a business. And we have all these Marvel movies now that are actually kind of descriptive of what I can do, right? I can see into a problem and I can see into a business where the greatest opportunity lies and say, here, go there. And it doesn't make logical sense to pretty much anybody. Like the first guy I was telling you about, he was somebody who was doing robocalls, before I met him. And I said, "Oh, you can't work with me if you're doing that. That's bad karma. We have to create something new." And he said, "That's why I am here with you." And I said, "Okay, great." And so we had to find his little skill set that could get him into the zone that created the whole new company, which created the big money maker. So everybody has a big money maker, and oftentimes it's not what you think. Like the guy with the dental practices, it was like, "Oh, it sucks, I'm bored, they make a whole bunch." And I said, "No, no, 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 no. Let's start moving in this direction and teaching you how to handle it in a completely new way." And he says, "Oh yeah, we're about to buy 4 more." And I said, "There you go."
Do you think that the chaos like in the CEO's heads then translates to chaos in the business? And if so, like, does a business suffer as a result of that chaos?
100%, 100%, every single time. And it's really about and it's not the chaos of the mind, just so you understand. It's really, interesting thing, Ty, is that the mind, it can handle a lot. It's the chaos of the energy around the CEO. And that means, are they letting the little nuanced things really take control and take them so far off track on a drift that they're really not able to achieve the objective in a really short, concise, and actually faster way? Like now we have GPS, so we can get there faster, we can see traffic, etc., etc. But when let's just say everybody's got ADD. I kind of think that everybody has some form of ADD, either high ADD, middle ADD, or low ADD, right? And it's about, well, what do we do with that opportunity that's in front of us to say, okay, am I going to let this drama, trauma, person stuff really take hold of me? Or am I going to learn to harness how I deal with the energy of my brain and the energy that's around me so that I can really, really achieve more with less? I'll give you a story of a very successful CEO client, and his company was about $500 million when we started it. And he just wanted some help really just sorting out some things that were going on in his brain. And I was like, okay, great, let's see. Come to find out, in the way he was handling his chaos is he was isolating away from his company and his team and all of his people except his assistant. And I think it was his operations guy. And he would drive into, he was in New York, he would drive into the city and he'd meet outside the building and he'd have a 1-hour meeting with the two of them, and then he'd run away to the country again. I said, well, we have a problem because you can't get to the number that you want to get to if you keep doing this. We have to teach you how to deal with the chaos so you're not just always running away.
Do you
And his company
find?
hit,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, and his company hit $1 billion about 2 years later.
Wow. So do you find that some entrepreneurs, because like with me, it's kind of a weird thing. Like the more chaotic a situation, my whole brain calms down. Like I can't explain it. Like if I want peace, I can go to like a festival carnival where just absolute chaos, loud noise, people everywhere. It's soothing to me, right? My son's the opposite. Like loud noises, you can't even get him inside if there's loud noises. Like I'm the guy in Las Vegas. I'll stay up all night. And at the casino, I don't gamble at all. I like the sounds and the people and everything. I'm like, it's like, I just get calm in chaos. But I wonder, is that like normal, or other people like that, or are people the opposite? What do you experience when you're dealing with CEOs?
All different kinds, some of what you're talking about for yourself. So for yourself, the cool thing that you're describing to me is that actually shuts all of the other chaotic crap that's going through your brain. That actually helps that shut down because it's there's so many other things that are being stimulated. And then for your son, they're growing up in a whole different time, and they actually are being bombarded with electrical energy and Wi-Fi energy. And I know this sounds really ludicrous, but it actually is proven that those impact thoughts and emotions and behaviors, etc. And so kids today, they don't have as much nature time. Gosh, I grew up and they're like, hey, see you later. Come back for dinner when you're hungry. We don't get to do that with kids today.
Yeah, it's very true. Like I grew up in the country playing in creeks, and that's exactly, I get in trouble for coming home too late after dark and being in the woods. My kids have never had zero of that exposure, like none of that
Yeah.
exposure, because they're highly, they have to be stimulated, like constantly doing stuff. So
Right.
you're right, that nature stuff is completely out of it. Do you think that this energy that comes out of these things like Wi-Fi, does it interfere with like our aura, like our own energy force? Does it create a disruption there?
It totally does. Yeah, totally. We just moved into a new office and I put some stuff up around the building, and this guy who's a little grumpy, who's, there are only like 4 or 5 offices in our little building. And I put something up because there's a great big transformer and he was out there looking at it and looking at it and looking at it, and he looks in my window and it was really funny watching him, and I was like, I wonder what he's going to ask me what that is. And it was really to just neutralize that so that we can have that Zen time, so that we can have that opportunity to achieve more with less inside of our business. So yeah, it does affect our aura, and it affects our aura. It's going to affect our brain, and it's going to affect our mindset, and it's going to affect that drift.
How do you stop that? Like, what kind of things can
Mm.
we do? Like, because we're surrounded by it, right? I got Wi-Fi, I got all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, I'm up in the top of the Tampa. So, like, what kind of things can we use to stop that disruption or lessen?
Yeah, there are all kinds of neutralizers now. They're not easily found. They're not highly popular. They're actually, I met somebody at some gala who goes in and actually neutralizes all this in the walls of people in Hollywood, right? To neutralize all of the wires and all of the electrical charges and outlets and such like that. And so for the rest of us who don't have that, um, there are things that you can put into your plug, and there are a few that work and some that are most that are pretty junky. And it's really about finding the few that really, really work, because it makes a really big difference as to, you can kind of feel it when you plug it in. If you can't feel it when you plug it in, it's not working enough. And that is if you're tuned into your body. Because if you're not tuned into your body,
So, other ways we can turn this chaos on our head into clarity. Meditation, you mentioned, as well. You also mentioned, just an absolute pattern interrupt to bring yourself back. Other techniques that you found to kind of bring us clarity amongst the chaos?
Yeah, so we are really ungrounded as beings, as humans. We're looking at our screen, we're looking at our screen, we're looking at our screen, we're looking at screens everywhere. And there's all kinds of screens, even with ads. So here's this really cool thing. For those who are listening, just kind of follow along. And for those who are watching, do what I'm doing. It's a little weird, but it works every time. So you want to do it with me, Ty?
Yeah, I'm in. I'm gonna
Okay,
do this.
take your left 2 fingers under your nostril, right? And put your right palm under the base of the nape of your neck. This is a motivator for anybody. These 3 things that I am teaching you help some guy make $6 million in one trade. So might be well worth doing. Take a breath and exhale out. Left thumb to right earlobe. Thumb on top and pinch. Pinch like this. Yeah, and pinch. Great. Not hard, but. And then right thumb to left earlobe. On top, right hand on top. Go like this on top. Take your right hand out. Yeah, there you go. It's okay. I've taught this a lot. And take another breath. And release. Notice how you're kind of swaying a little bit. Isn't that interesting? Right? All right. Take your right wrist over your left wrist. And your left ankle over your right ankle. And take a breath. All right. Tell me how you feel.
I feel good. I feel chill.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it is cool. I feel like I just smoked a bunch of pot. I mean, theoretically, like.
I know, but your voice even changed. You got really like kind of like, I feel good. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, I just feel like chill. That's relaxing. That's really cool. So when do you recommend doing something like that? We just throughout the day, or is it when you get kind of caught up with chaotic situations, or?
Say, put it on your calendar to be bad to do it 3 times a day. I'll tell some stories and this will help everybody understand how to use it. So there was one woman who was a really, really, really sucky salesperson. And I said, listen, you're just ungrounded. You're out of your body. We just need you to get grounded. So I actually created this for her. And she hadn't sold anything before doing this. Her sales were just like 1,000. So small, it was ridiculous. And I said, I'm going to turn you into a wicked cool salesperson. I'm telling you, you just do what I say. Yes, I taught her some other things, but this one thing I had her put on her calendar and had her do it 12 times a day. The next year, she made $500,000 in commission on sales. Kind of cool. Another story is I had a guy who was closing a deal on his company and he was selling it. And he was super ADD. And I said, listen, we want this deal to close because you got to get out of there. You want to create something new. We want this to close. So I need you to call me every hour. And they're going to think you're a lunatic, but I need you to call me every hour and we're going to do this thing. And he was in Vegas and he'd leave and he'd sit in the stairwell and he'd call and I'd take him through the process. And he closed the deal for like $10 million that landed in the bank account and then, other things later. But so do it as often as you need, but start with 3 times a day.
What do you think also about, and this is really powerful stuff. I love this.
Thank
I love
you.
the simple strategies like that you can use to be able to kind of, well, what does it do? Well, what's the effects of what you just taught?
Oh, thanks. So remember we started talking mind and started with that. So it actually gets the mind to all of the electrical wiring in the mind to calm the frick down. And then it gets the body more anchored, not totally grounded, but better than no grounding at all. And then it actually brings the energy, the aura together. So those 3 things are working in tandem with each other for the highest and best benefit of you. And so it actually gets you move with the ability to move in the right direction because those 3 things are working together. Because generally, they're not working together all at the same time.
Any other techniques like that you found that are powerful?
Oh gosh, I have so many. I have so many. I mean,
how do you know what to use when or with who?
Oh, I love that question. Gosh, I've never been asked that question. I have this really cool spidey sense that says this is the exact right thing for the exact right opportunity, and these people can handle this. And so I don't always teach this to a large group that doesn't really know me, but I got the sense, that spidey sense, that your group can handle it, you can handle it, and that you would totally, totally, totally get how this is going to help you. And so I pulled that one out of that, and it really hardly ever gets shared on podcasts or interviews. So it's an important one. So I kind of really just use I'll call it higher intuition.
What about, where did you kind of find out that you had the gift that you have?
A lot of pain, truly. I was little. My mom told me never to tell anybody I knew stuff and I could do stuff. And I spent a lot of my youth being really quiet, trying to figure out why humans say one thing, but their energy says another and their body says another. I was very confused. It seemed like a big disconnect to me. And then I got into coding, computer coding. And I thought, oh, this makes sense. And I really liked it. And I was kind of not great at it. I was good at it, but not great at it. And then I got into sales and marketing so I could actually figure out how humans and human psychology and marketing worked and really how the process of all of things are put together. And then I worked for a company and helped them get built and sold. And I thought, oh, this is called entrepreneurship. I like helping these people. This is fun. I can do coding and marketing and sales and management. This is fun. And then my spouse died, and my whole world turned upside down. And then I just dove into work, helped building another company. And then I got sick and misdiagnosed and nearly died building a pharma company. And laying on the emergency room table, I thought, oh, I'm not here to die. I'm here to do something and share something. And I thought, oh, it's not supposed to be what I thought it was going to be. And I was a little upset, but I went home and started thinking, well, if I know how to build a company and sell a company, if I know all of those businessy things, I bet if I know how to do that, I can heal my body. And then I started thinking about all the stuff I was doing as a kid that everyone thought was super weird. And I started integrating it into my body, and I healed my body. And then I decided that I'm a scientist, so I needed to prove this was going to work. So what does a scientist do? They actually find subjects. And so I started a free clinic. People came. We did some marketing. People came, just some flyers, and people started coming. And I kept seeing result after result after result. And I thought, this is repeatable. We will do this. And it just kept growing and growing. And then the energy side meshed with the business side when I had always wanted to work with this one guy. And he begged me, he said, I've been looking for you for a year and a half. Where have you been? I said, I've been hiding so I can do my own thing over here. And he said, you and I have always wanted to work together. Please come help me build this company. I was like, no, I'm not doing that stuff. And I went and I helped him. And it was really fascinating to see how I could take all of that and put it together and help a sales team grow and help numbers really expand and help, and help the organizers of the business to really see something they hadn't seen. And then what happened was a client of mine, because I told him I had to have clients, a client of mine said, do you know how much money you made me? And I said, what? And she said, well, every time I talk to you, every time we do something, I make a crap ton of money. I was like, what? Tell me your whole story. So she told me the story because I was just doing what I was doing. And I started thinking about this and thought, oh, this is important. Businesses don't understand that this energy thing is essential. The CEOs don't understand the energy thing is essential. So the next sequence happened with, the CEO of a major Fortune 100 company said, I have been looking for you. Where have you been? I said, no, we have to do this deal. I'm here for the deal. And he said, I want to know what you've been doing for the past year and a half. I was like, I'll tell you later. It's fine. I said, you don't want to hear it. It's really weird. It's really, really weird, dude. I'm not going to tell you. And he said, I promise I'll sign the contract. But how much money? Okay, great. Tell me. I said, so I kind of have been helping people understand how their soul and energy work together to make more money and have a better life. And he said, oh, I want that. And so that's really how it just kept blossoming.
Wow. I mean, I wish we had more time because this has been so fantastic and powerful. Where can everybody go that's listening and watching to be able to learn more and kind of tap into or talk a little bit more about working with you to be able to help them get clarity?
Yeah. So I have a website, like most people, SheevaunMoran.com. It doesn't really say enough to describe the things that come out of my mouth and what somebody senses and hears from me. So if you really are inspired and you need to know more, go to author at SheevaunMoran.com, SheevaunMoran.com. And then author is AUTHOR. And cool things for cool people. And I'm all about making sure that people really achieve their money goal and really do that well without breaking. And that's just so essential today.
Powerful stuff. Again, thanks for coming on with us today.
Thanks.
So everybody, if you're listening, watching this, what you might not know is that Sheevaun literally just decoded the most important thing of everything. Like if your mindset's not right, if your spiritual side isn't right, if your energy isn't right, it's a real uphill battle to do just about anything in business. And sometimes you just see people where things are kind of easy, where it almost just looks simple for them. I believe that those people meet somebody like Sheevaun or have access to be able to get clarity in these areas that we've talked about today. Whereas the people that have all these struggles are dealing with all these internal things and they don't find that peace. So if you really want the easiest path forward in your business, that it really comes down to being able to do the things we talked about today at a spiritual level and at an energy level as well. And Sheevaun has a ton of information that you can access, including a blog on her website. So make sure you go to her website, which is sheevaunmoran.com. Now, the Sheevaun, as she said, is spelled Sheevaun. So let me say that again. It's Sheevaun, Moran, Moran.com. So check it out. Tons of resources here that will help you start to get clarity. And that clarity is essential to being able to reach high levels of success in your business. So make sure you check out SheevaunMoran.com. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.